All right, hey, can anybody out there tell me the leading cause to a crappy fantasy football team? Yep, you guessed it. It's drafting players who suck. Want to avoid them here in 2019? Hit the like button because I got a few running backs you do not want to draft. What is going on, Headliner Nation? Jake, Fantasy Headliners. Hopefully you're all doing well out there today, where we're going to be talking about running backs. Running backs here in 2019 fantasy football that we will not draft. Do not draft running backs here 2019. And we kind of got to be a little careful with this. I see this as a popular topic among a lot of channels here on YouTube, but make sure you understand that this is really based off of ADP. Everybody has draft value. Everybody. Even Devin Funchess. Everybody has draft value at some point. It's just where you get it that really makes it relevant or not. Some of these guys, their ADPs are way too high, and that's why they're making this do not draft list here for 2019 fantasy football. Real quick, before we get into this list, one of the last videos we had this week, I challenged you guys to go out there and get 300 likes on this video, and I would give away 3 draft guides. We got that easily. Blew it out of the water, over 500 likes. Greatly appreciate that. You guys don't realize how much those likes help us here on YouTube. So do me a favor, hit that like button because we have a lot more giveaways coming up. If you missed out on the last draft guides, don't worry. We'll be giving away more here before the season. And maybe over my shoulder, we have a few other things to give away here in the very near future. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Go check out our website, thefantasyheadliners.com. Tons of information over there for you to check out. But without wasting any more time, let's talk some fantasy football, and let's talk some running backs we will not draft in 2019. All right, first guy we're talking about here on the list, Josh Jacobs, running back of the Oakland Raiders, and the hype for this guy is just getting out of control. I mean, for somebody who's so unproven in college, don't get me wrong, he's got a lot of talent, but his ADP is already up into the 3rd round of fantasy football drafts. Now, he has the draft capital to be a starter. I mean, he's drafted in the 1st round. I mean, that's a great start. However, he's never had more than 120 carries in a college season. Heck, he's only had 20 carries in a game once in college. And now a lot of people are going to be depending on him to be a 200, 250 carry guy as the lead running back for the Oakland Raiders in his rookie season. That is a huge, huge jump. We're not saying the guy's going from 180, 200 to 250. No, he's going from 120 and having to more than double that number. Yeah, I just don't see that. I think there are going to be other running backs involved in this offense. And with a 3rd round ADP, it could get a little bit too expensive. We know Jalen Richard is still there. He's going to be getting work on the passing downs. We got Washington Martin, Chris Warren, other capable running backs in this offense that we're going to see more of here in the offseason. But that ADP, it's just way too expensive. And if you look at some of the offseason acquisitions that they got there in Oakland, it really leads me to believe that they want to throw the ball a lot more. I mean, they brought in Antonio Brown, Tyrell Williams, drafted Hunter Renfrow. I mean, there's a lot of options in the passing game. And Derek Carr had a sneaky, decent passing season last year with over 4,000 yards passing. That's where I think they really want to take this team. Josh Jacobs may be there to keep the defenses honest, but is he going to be getting that workload to return that, high-end RB2, low-end RB1 numbers? Nah, I don't really see that. Not at all. I would much rather have Marlon Mack or Aaron Jones, who are actually, as of right now, being drafted after Josh Jacobs. To me, that is absolutely crazy. He's unproven, doesn't have the track record, and hasn't really proven to be able to be somebody to hold up for that number of carries for that amount of time. This guy could be one of those guys who comes out strong, wears down at the end, and really hurts your fantasy football team. As a 3rd round draft pick, I'm passing on Josh Jacobs. Moving on to the second name on the list here of running backs that we will avoid here in 2019 fantasy football, Sony Michel, running back of the New England Patriots. This one may be a little bit of a shock to a few people, but we've heard his name in the news here recently. He underwent a minor knee surgery to scope out his knee, but these injuries are going to start popping up. We already knew that he was going to have knee injuries. He missed games last season. He came into the league with knee concerns, and the big question mark is, where does he really fall in this backfield? Is he the lead running back of the New England Patriots? Because to me, this backfield is harder to figure out than Chinese arithmetic. You really have no idea what Bill Belichick's going to do on a weekly basis. And now that all these injuries are starting to add up slowly but surely, he's considered now a high-risk injury candidate with a risk rating of 67% here in 2019. They really expect him to miss some time here at some point in the 2019 season. It's just inevitable. The way that he runs, the problems he had with his knee even coming into the league. Now, at times, he looked unstoppable last year. I mean, he had 209 carries, 931 yards, and 6 touchdowns. But with that crowded backfield of James White and Rex Burkhead and Damian Harris, to me, the drafting of Damian Harris speaks the loudest right here. Is they're worried about Sony Michel, and they need a plan B just in case. That's Damian Harris. There may be a little bit of swings in this backfield as we get closer to the season. There may be some moves, maybe some cuts. Maybe Burkhead doesn't make it if Damian Harris shows out during the offseason mini camps. That's what we'll have to wait and find out. But it is a crowded backfield, and it's been like that for a long time. But he really benefited last season because of those injuries. I mean, Burkhead missed time. I don't know if you remember, Jeremy Hill was there for like a day or two. There's not, a whole lot that New England had going for it other than Sony Michel and James White in that backfield. So they really benefited from that last season. We know that Michel, was supposed to get the bulk of the carries, but with these knee injuries continually popping up, we know James White's going to be on the field, involved in the passing game. He's one of the favorite targets of Tom Brady. It could really change from week to week for me. And Sony Michel may have great weeks. He may have bad weeks. And to me, that is a fantasy nightmare. That is what causes fantasy gray hair. That's what causes hair loss. I like Sony Michel as a running back. What I don't like is the possible inconsistencies we could see here in 2019. And for those reasons alone, he's made my do not draft list for running backs here for 2019. All right, let's move on to number 3, or numero tres for all of our Spanish-speaking friends out there. It's going to be Darius Geis, running back of the Washington Redskins. And this one kind of pains me a little bit. I'm a big Darius Geis fan. If you don't follow this guy on Twitter, you need to, because he's very interactive with the sports community and one of the very few athletes that really interacts as much as he does. But he missed his entire rookie season with a torn ACL. And that's an injury that may have occurred because of an injury he actually got in college. A lot of people don't realize that he had a very bad hyperextended knee that was not surgically repaired that really could have led to the tearing of the ACL this past season. Is it confirmed there? No, but there are reports saying that they could have played a part in it. And now we have old man Adrian Peterson, who I believe was one of the first-round draft picks of Jesus back in the day. That's how long he's been around. Had a great 2018 also, where he was 5th in carries and 5th in evaded tackles in the NFL. And he's already come out saying he wants to go out there and just absolutely kill it in 2019. The guy just won't go away. We know Chris Thompson's still going to be there. He's going to be involved in the passing game. The Washington Redskins have the 7th hardest strength of schedule among running backs in the NFL. And then let's see what they did during the draft. They drafted Dwayne Haskins, which was great. They needed a franchise quarterback after Alex Smith's leg bent the wrong way. I mean, that was just absolutely disgusting. They also spent a few draft picks on some wide receivers with McLaurin and Harmon. Are they really trying to spread the ball down the field and make this more of a vertical offense? That's entirely possible. Now, despite having all these running backs that they already have that I've talked about, they also spent a draft pick on former Heisman hopeful Bryce Love. Now, Bryce Love may not be a threat this season after having a season-ending injury last year, and he's still rehabbing and may not even be available for this upcoming year. However, the draft pick of Bryce Love kind of leads me to believe that the front office may be a little bit worried about the future of Darius Geis. I mean, this guy was capable of being a workhorse 3-down back. That's what he was really brought in there for, but maybe they're getting a little bit worried. Maybe he's not as far along as a lot of them hoped that he would be at this time. In my opinion, he's more of a risk than the others that are being drafted around him. You have Tariq Cohen, Lamar Miller, and Rashad Penny, who I all believe will be safer picks here in 2019 fantasy football. Darius Geis is an elite talent with a 6th-round ADP, which is not bad. However, with the other running backs that are around him at that time, I would feel more safe grabbing them than risking it on Darius Geis here this year. All right, so this show is all about running backs to avoid, to not draft in 2019 fantasy football. So what good would this show be if I did not mention Ronald Jones, running back of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? There's still way too many people talking about Ronald Jones. Now, his ADP is all the way back to the 9th round, which is good. He's the latest of everybody on this list. But that's still too high for Ronald Jones. I mean, I get it, I guess, kind of. Bruce Arians is in town there in Tampa Bay, so everybody's expecting him to turn the career around of Ronald Jones and make him an elite running back, similar to what we saw with David Johnson. He rejuvenated the career of Carson Palmer. Everywhere he's gone, he's kind of invigorated the offense. But let's be realistic here, people. Ronald Jones is basically Reggie Bush minus talent. Okay, the guy hasn't been given a huge opportunity, but that's partially because when he did get an opportunity, he averaged 1.9 yards per carry. I am a dad bod sporting, way past my football playing days dude. But I'm almost positive that I could get close to averaging that just by running to the offensive lineman and falling forward. I could get close, I think. Probably not, but it's possible. Heck, they even signed Andre Ellington this offseason. Andre Ellington didn't even play football last year. And if that's not bad enough, they brought back Peyton Barber, who was one of the most inefficient backs in all of the NFL in 2018. Really doesn't sound like they believe in Ronald Jones. It's one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. And Rojo is not a Bruce Arians guy. Bruce Arians did not sit there in the war room on draft day and say, I want Ronald Jones. He really could probably give two craps about Ronald Jones. It's not his guy. The fact that he brought in Andre Ellington, they re-signed Peyton Barber, Ronald Jones may get a slight opportunity, but if he does not produce right off the bat, this guy is going to be gone and forgotten about. I don't want him anywhere near even the bench of my fantasy football team. Just in case whatever he has is contagious, I don't want it to rub off on my other players. Pass on Ronald Jones. Absolute 100% do not draft here in 2019. All right, so those were a few of my do not draft running backs here in 2019 fantasy football. Had a little bit of fun with it, but I want to make this interactive like we do with all the other shows. If you have a name that you're going to avoid at all costs here on draft day in 2019, throw it down below in the comment section. I'd love to see some of your opinions, some of the reasons you have behind those opinions. Love to interact with you guys. Once again, please make sure you're hitting that like button. That helps us out more than you know on YouTube. Those likes really help drive traffic to the site, and we greatly appreciate that support. Head over to the website, check out the information over there, and our draft guide is for sale. Pre-order now, $19.99. You will not find a better deal on any site. The amount of information packed into that draft guide is top notch. You're going to be dominating your fantasy football leagues here in 2019. Once again, we appreciate the support. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your week. We'll talk to you later.